He said I liked him. We have a certain family here this morning that needs your prayers. If you'll just lift your hands towards them. Well, I've got a thought this morning, is what I have. I was telling JT earlier that, you find in ministry after a while that some of the easiest things for you to convey to others and to teach on and to preach on are things that you've walked through. And this thought is something that I know I've walked through in my lifetime, and I'm pretty confident that you've walked through it too. Some of you are probably still hung up in the journey because you don't know this truth that God's about to unveil to you this morning. How many of you like promotion? I mean, I'm not going to raise my hand because then he's going to say that I'm holy. And no, how many of you like promotion? I mean, whether it be on a job or where you serve or whatever. I mean, it makes you feel good. Okay? I mean, it just does sometimes. And when you're promoted, well, let's do it this way. Tommy, do 1 Corinthians first. Let's do it like this. This is Paul talking. He's wanting to go, or he's supposed to be going to another trip, and he's on a trip now, but he's wanting to pass by another place. And this is what he's writing to the church in Corinth. For a great and effective door has opened to me, and there are many adversaries. A great and effective door has opened to me, but there are many adversaries. Any time in your life, and you can take this morning's message and put it wherever you want to put it. If you're needing something spiritually, you wrap your mind around this thing spiritually. If you're going through something physically, you wrap your mind around this thing physically. If you're needing financials, whatever it is that you're needing, I need you to look at this in the area in which you're in need of. Because anytime that God sets before you transition, nobody ever likes transition, because transition in and of itself brings change. I was holding the baby this morning, and it just keeps bringing me back. How many of you know that child went through a horrible transition? That child died before she was born. Not literally speaking, but what she was used to, what she was comfortable, what she felt peace at, when mama wasn't doing jumping jacks and whatnot, what she felt at peace at, she had to die to in order to live to what she is now. So she walks away, and it's just like death. When we die, we're actually going to live. So it's the same thing. But in transition, nobody likes transition. I guarantee you that baby was not happy. So anytime that God puts transition in front of you and opens the door of opportunity, you can rest assured there's going to be opposition. Now, whether that opposition are people, how many of you know that just because people say they love you doesn't really mean they do? Some people will tell you, I love you in Christ, and what they're saying is, I don't really love you at all. It's just truth. If you haven't been hurt yet, you ain't lived long enough. You'll find that those words have become extremely empty over past generations. So keep in mind, there's an effective door that's open to you. God's opening, let's do it this way. I told you I just had a thought. I don't really have notes. I've got ideas. I told y'all that all I wanted to do was read God's word, pray, and bring you what he gives me. I don't want to put God in a box. I'm tired of trying to stay on notes, because sometimes we get so tied up in that and somebody misses something that God wanted to say because I'm so. The only problem with that is you get in the middle of something and you say something like that and then you forget. But I'm old, don't judge me. Anytime there's going to be promotion in your life, or you're going to graduate from one season to another, I'll do it that way. Anytime that you're going to move from one season of your life to another season of your life, you're going to meet opposition. We can talk about, Tommy, go ahead and take me to 1 Samuel. This is where I kind of got some of this thought from. Because what I think we need to understand is there's always going to be transition. Okay, there's always going to be the end of one season in my life, and there's always going to be a new season coming. But you can't walk into that new season until you close out the old season. You with me? That's why I said some of you are still hung up in the old season. Because you don't understand there's a new season right in front of you. But until, come on, it's just like death in the families. We like closure, right? It's hard to move on until we have closure. That's why there's a period of grief. Ecclesiastes says there's a time for that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And some people may grieve longer than others. But you know what? It's up to them. Well, we learn the hard way sometime. It's better off to keep your mouth shut. 1 Samuel 18, verse 5. So David went out wherever Saul sent him and behaved wisely. Okay. Verse 14. And David behaved wisely in all his ways, and the Lord was with him. Okay. Verse 15. 15. Oh, it's up there. I can't see. Told y'all, I'm old. Don't judge me. Therefore, when King Saul seen that he behaved very wisely, he was afraid of him. Verse 30. Then the princes of the Philistines went out to war. And so it was, whenever they went out, that David behaved more wisely than all the servants of Saul. I'm going to stop there. Behaved wisely. I said, there is no way that you're going to put out behave wisely that many times in that short of verses. And behave wisely doesn't mean something other than what it says. So you know what I did. Behave wisely is to prosper in understanding. Behave wisely in this text of scriptures. Prosper in understanding. In other words, he gained wisdom very well. He grew in wisdom through and by experience very well. How many of you would like to think that behave wisely could be put after your name? How many of you would want it to be? Well, you're agreeing and you're saying that you would want it to be. How many of you have had the opportunity to, and you haven't taken advantage of it? Girl, I ain't gonna fool with you this morning. That baby is your buffer. We all enter new seasons one way or another. You're going to enter into a season not prospering in understanding from the last season, or you're going to enter in the new season with understanding from the last season. Okay, you're going to learn by your mistakes. Now you with me? It's okay to make a mistake in your life. It's just not okay to do it over and over and over and over. If I had about 15 more minutes, I would say over and over and over, because we all do it. I mean, man, we'll go, man, stupid. I just done that last week, and this is how it turned out. I already know the outcome. I don't even have to ask nobody. I already know the outcome. I done it like this last time, and this is exactly how it happened. We'll walk out of some seasons into another. Somebody experiences, some of you will experience it by way of other people. Some people will be brought into your life to take you out of a season and put you in another. Okay? That's why it's so vital that you don't look upon a man on his outward appearance. Let me break this down to you. Church, that you don't look at someone and go, well, you just a greeter. You can't give me a word. God used a donkey. See, that's why some of you are still in the same season. Because somebody came to you to take you out of that season and catapult you and put you into another season with the word from God. But because of your hard-headedness, because your stubbornness, because of your arrogance, because of your ego, because of your selfishness. Am I on something? I'm right there. I know I'm on it. You're still in the same season. If some of you was to rewind your life at this point in time, right now, today, you're in the same place you were 5 years ago. Spiritually, emotionally, financially, relationship. You call it. Fill in the blank. You want to know why JT has been... Some of you are going to face these seasons alone. These are the hard seasons. Because now you have to do a journey by yourself. Ain't nobody there to tell you, wipe your chin because you got stuff on it. No, really. No, I'm joking. Ain't nobody there to tell you to tie your shoe. You got to learn on your own. Boy, life's a hard lesson. We give credit too much to our flesh. Because if we didn't, we wouldn't follow it so much. You had to marry. You made your bed, sweetheart, you lay in it. I guarantee your mama probably told you that. Don't try to butter up now. Some of you will go from one season to another just for the simple fact that God himself opened the door and put you in it. So one way or another, you're going to face coming out of one season and going into another. In that time frame, and I want to use David a little bit, probably all of it. Because here David was minding his business, just like you were last week, just minding your business, and next thing you know, where'd this come from? What happened? Not that it happened to him, everybody looked at you and went, what happened? But you're minding your own business. You going to work, taking care of the family, going to church, you're loving people, you're minding your business. What? Just like David, tending the sheep, minding his business. Can you imagine David as the shepherd boy, the youngest, the least of, in the field doing all the work, and they call for him back to the house? Can you imagine what went through his mind? Man, what have I done? Huh? Mom and Daddy ever called you and you go, what did I do? And all they really want to do is say, I love you or something and give you $1. See, all the kids are out. I can say that now. You can't use that, boy. They called David back to the house, and here goes David, minding my own business. I'm in my season. This is when God opens doors. You're in your season. And God says, that's not what I've called you for. That's not what I created you for. Now here's the door. He goes back, he gets anointed. Goes back to the sheep. Comes out of the sheep. Takes some cheese and whatnot to his brothers who were fighting. Y'all remember David and Goliath. Are y'all with me on this story? I don't want to lose you. If I lose you, just go see LaSonia and she'll take you through. She probably got pretty pictures and everything. David and Goliath. Here David is minding his business again. God opens up another door. Now he's got to face Goliath. Everybody else is fearing for their life. They see him come out and start running his mouth. They run and hide. Like most church people. When the world comes against the church tucks tail and hides. Well, I don't want to get in no trouble. You need to go to jail. All did. Let's leave Paul alone. Let's stay with David. David faces the giant. After David faces the giant, I love that he took his sword. Because you do remember when Saul said, well, here, take my armor, and you go, and he said, well, wait a minute, time out, I haven't tested it. He didn't say it didn't fit. He didn't say it was too big. He said, I haven't tested it. Some of you better stop trying to solve your problems with stuff that you haven't tested. Might as well quit. We going and fighting battles we ain't even tested before. We don't even know if what we have is the right thing for the job. Then we run up in it. It doesn't happen. And the first thing we do, we blame God for it. Because it didn't work. It ain't hit. He kills Goliath. He takes Goliath's sword, whop, takes his head, and he's carrying his head. I like the idea that he carried the head back into Jerusalem, and then Saul summoned for him to come to him, and he came. This was after they sang the song. Okay? Y'all still with me, right? They sang the song. Saul has taken 1,000, but David has taken 10,000. Saul calls for David, so he sends his servants out. His servants go, hey, king wants you. I mean, this mind his business. What have I done now? I love this part. He took a thing with him. Goliath's head. Takes it to the presence of the king. I went, why he do that? Maybe he was showing Saul, now look, I was minding my own business. So before you start going off on me, telling me I'm going to kill you and this, remember what your guys wouldn't do. Okay? Token of favor. That's kind of what I see. That's a token of favor. Goliath's head, a token of favor. But he comes to Saul. He talks to Saul, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff's going on. Next thing you know, David is now in the courts of King Saul because Saul done something stupid, remember? Okay? The kingdom was ripped from him. Saul got a spirit from God that made him uneasy. You remember that? We always think that everything comes from God is going to be great. That said that was a bad spirit that come on Saul. So David would go in and play and ease Saul. Okay? While he's in the presence of the king, easing him. This is good for somebody too right here probably. We have to be careful of the season that we're setting in because sometimes it will have the similarities of where we think that we're good at. Everything's fine. Come to find out, that's not where God wanted David. So now God uses Saul to push David from one season to another. Remember, he threw the spear at him to run him off. Get him out of there. Sometimes you'll sit just because, man, listen, you was watching sheep 3 weeks ago. And now you up in the king's court, eating grapes, being fed like Cleopatra. You're in the palace. You have arrived. It's not where God wants you. It's transition. It's a great door of opportunity, but there's faced with opposition. Sometimes opposition don't even look like opposition. Opposition could be that hunk of burning love. My wife just blushed. If we aren't careful, we'll set in seasons because it looks good, feels good, feels right. Man, this is perfect. I love to play my harp. Now I get to play it for the king inside the palace? It don't get no better than this. And Papa Miller, like, never mind. Y'all don't watch commercials. So now David is out. David's run around. Saul's chasing. Everything that David does now, he is still growing. And he's still learning. So what did the Bible say that he was doing? What was that again? He done what? He prospered in understanding. He done what? She said being good. He behaved wisely. And he began to behave very wisely. So all through his journey, David was learning. Now, I know David didn't know he was about to be king. But this was written for you. The Bible says it's written for our what? Our learning, right? So this was written for you, for today. You're facing a season. You're coming out of one, going into another. There's opposition. What do I do with that opposition? Am I learning from my past to move into something new or something else? Or, I don't know about you, I don't want to be standing at a door of opportunity and never walk in it. I just don't. And I fought doors of opportunity a lot because I want to try to be holy sometime and go, well, that's not of God. And in actuality, it's exactly of God. Because see, it's in the time of our opposition or our experiences that our character is molded. So there's things that we have to go through so that we can be molded in right places. If you can picture, I told y'all my mind's jacked up, man, the way it works. But if you can picture a door that fits your body, and only your body can pass through it perfectly. God puts you on a diet plan to fit that door in that season. Now, you go to Dairy Queen all the time. Eating chocolate. When it comes time for that door, well, let's just say some of us might carry a little extra than what we're supposed to, and you're not going to fit through that door. God's trying to mold you into something, to take you to another season in life. But we have to be very, very cautious in what we do in this season that we're in. Are we learning in this season? Are we able... Your ability for promotion in the next season is totally dependent upon your ability to recognize the season you're in. Are you able to recognize the opposition that you're facing to be something that's molding your character? If I was to walk up on you and just slap you in the face without him here, might be the wrong thing to ask her. A little country. when our patience are being tried with something? Are we recognizing that as an opposition in the season that we're in, that's molding me and preparing me for the next season of promotion that God's trying to get me into? You've got to understand that David faced Goliath as a shepherd. His opposition. He came out a king. He went in a shepherd boy. He come out a king. Do you understand how? We're not talking about your little transition. Girl, I wanted to slap her, but I said no. I ain't talking about that little transition. He went from being a shepherd boy to becoming a king. I just read it to you 4 times. Behave wisely. Grow in wisdom, understanding. Prosper. I like that word better. Prosper in wisdom. That doesn't mean just get a little bit. That means to prosper. Prosper means you really don't have a need for want. Prosper means you're prospering. He prospered well in understanding. He grew in everything. If you look at David's life, he grew every time he faced something, he grew to another level, and grew to another level, and grew to another level. Went from lions to bears to Goliath to countries. Some people watch way too much television. Y'all didn't hear that, did you? I said lions and bears, and oh my. Ouch. You want the product of kingship. You want the product of kingship, but you don't want the process to forge you in your character. We want to bypass you want a college degree, but you don't want to go to college. Don't be mistaken. I don't want no degree, and I ain't going. Don't be mistaken. I ain't tying up my time. I'm 50 years old. I ain't. Nope. I barely made it 12 without committing suicide. I ain't trying to push the envelope. Your quality and your character are forged in your experiences. Stop trying to detour. Know that what you're going through right now is creating you for what you're about to go through. If we could get that in our mind, it's just like working out. I do a lot of that. If we could get in our mind while we're working out of what we're going to become, man, it's a little bit easier to stay motivated on that. But if all I'm doing is going to the gym, I can't get motivated even when I do see the end product. So I'm going to leave that right there where that's at. What opposition is it that you face that you don't understand? Maybe we need to replay. Maybe you need to go back to the last season to go, what happened? What took place? What's going on? What is God trying to teach me? What What do I need to learn? We don't want any of that. We don't want the learning. We don't want discipline. We don't want correction. We don't want anybody telling us nothing. You can't tell me nothing. I know it all. Come on. I mean, talk to me like you for real. Because we are quick to turn away opposition. Because if it's opposition, it's of Satan. Right? The devil done it. No. A lot of the times, it's you. You just use Satan as your scapegoat. See, he's probably got the easiest job in the world. All he got to do is just sit back. We're going to mess it up. He's just hanging out. Now, if he thinks you might have caught something, wait a minute. Then he might stumble you up a little bit. But for the most part, because everything don't look like I think it should look. Surely me going through this issue in my relationship isn't meant to better me anywhere. Surely it's not. And if you look at it, 9 times out of 10 in the relationship, when you're going through an issue in your relationship, listen up to me. Husbands, wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, wannabes. 9 times out of 10, when you're going through an issue in your marriage or in your relationship, it's exactly what you need at that moment to help forge your character and your quality. Selfish? Come on, man. We can just play about 10 arguments in your life with your husband and your wife. Just play back about 10 of them. And I'm going to promise you, you're going to find yourself in the midst of the problem. Well, no, she won't let me. There it goes. She told me I couldn't. He said, here it goes. And I'll never forget one time, I like to hunt. Used to, a whole lot. Now it's there. She gonna come up to me and we saved at the time. And she gonna say, we going to see my mama. This is opening day of muzzleloading season. Y'all seen that commercial? It's deer season, man. That's kind of where I was at. I was, whoa. I fought. I was a little upset. And then God had to fix me. And it took him to fix me, because if she would have come back and said, I would have stayed home. I would have stayed home, saved and all, and I would have still stayed home. And she knows I would have. But God said, a little selfish, isn't it? You know. That's why we have to be careful in everything that we're doing. Stop doing this. Even, JT, even if it is her. I mean, that conversation you and I had yesterday about her, I'm joking. I'll get him in the doghouse. He didn't say nothing. I didn't even talk to him. But I got to stop that. Even if it is something that they did, and maybe they shouldn't have done. Well, I've heard it before. I ain't never paid no attention to it, and I ain't never listened to it. But I've heard it. And most of us, in most cases, we still ain't listened to it. Because we think that the world revolves around us. I'm still living. I don't know how many years ago that was. It was a while. I think you were freshly with Christ because you were testing me and seeing if I was really going to walk the walk of Christ. So it's been a few years. But I'm still living. It didn't kill me. What did it do? It forged me. I ain't got the best qualities in the world. My character, I try to work on my character every day. Even when you're not looking. Even when you're not looking. Even when it comes to business. I work on my character, and my character is in front of me every day. Yours should be too. Well, ain't nobody going to see if I do it now. I don't know about you. I just know the seasons that I was in. God was preparing me for another season to come. Now, I'm not telling you it all made sense because it didn't. None of it made sense. I was hurt. I was left. I was battered, angry, disappointed. I went through all the stages that you go through when it doesn't work out for your benefit at the time. And one day I had to get reminded of David. The whole story of how he went from here to here. And I went, wow. That's why that happened. That's why I put the pieces to it. Man, we had a picture. It all come together. And we went, dude, if you would have told me this then, but what am I willing to learn along the way? I did learn a valuable lesson, Kathy. Keep your mouth shut. Why are you poking her? See, that's going to get you in the dog. Told you I had a thought this morning. I had a thought. But in order for me to recognize that door, that season that I'm getting ready to walk into, in order for me to know that, I've got to know that opposition's going to be facing me. And just because opposition's there doesn't mean that season goes away and doesn't mean that it's not for you. Sometimes you're just not ready for it. It's not that God's not ready for you to enter it. He was ready for you to enter it way back then. He said, I got to spend a lot of time with you. That's why some of you live to about 150. Because you still ain't got it together. Right? I mean, my mom's 80 years old, man. Please learn this so you can go on. No, I'm joking. Don't y'all dare. Yeah, she'll see it later. I know. Somebody will show it. You need to look at this. But God so wants you ready for kingship. Aren't you tired of being a shepherd boy? I mean, I don't want to be left out there smacking sheep all day long. I'd rather be in there drinking wine, eating grapes, or whatever they drink. But am I allowing what I'm going through to forge me? Or am I fighting it? Because see, some of you try to cheat the system. Some of you try to cheat the system because you will jump into an opportunity when you're not ready for the opportunity. You've got sense enough to know and vision enough to know that it's there and it's right there. God didn't open the door all the way up yet, but it's right there. And you want to deny what you're going through right now. Come on, we all done this. We'll put something over here. We got to do See, I don't know how to explain it to you any other way than simple. We'll put the grass off to go do something else, to go play. I heard angels. But we'll put things off in our life that we need to do that we're responsible for. It's an accountability. And we'll put those things aside just to appease the flesh because we want promotion. I want to leave. Debbie told me the other day, this season's over. This season's over. And I'm going, sweetheart, this season is not over. But she keeps saying it's over. So I'm, okay, it's over. God, please help. But there's something about these seasons. I get beat up with it. God says, why? Again, Rocky, really? You're relying on that? Oh, if you only knew. You got your hopes up. Don't you know man will let you down every time? Dude, I'm going, man, thank God this is over. Don't want to go through the process. I wanted the product. Thank God this is over, man. When this comes in, when this locks down, man, I'm good to go, and we'll be able to take a breath. And uh-oh, it's gone. Door was shut. What? No, panic mode. Panic. I'm telling you life right now. I'm telling you real life. This ain't no made up story of mine that I concocted in the office. I'm telling you my life right now. Dude wants it, and I got witnesses too. Because I told them about it. Boy, when this comes through, man, I'm good. We're going to get... And the door shuts. And I'm going to ride down the road. I'm throwing stuff. Me and my Christian self up in my truck by myself. What do you mean, no? Who you going to trust, Rocky? What are you relying on? Why did you even put your hat on that rack anyway? You little small-minded boy. I got things way bigger than that. You're really? Go through it. But God, this is hot. Go through it. You'll pass through the fire. You won't be burnt. You'll wade through the waters. They won't overtake you. Go through it. Get quality forged. Get character forged so that when it does happen, you're ready for it. It's standing there. It's waiting. And the next thing you know, you get to stand in the middle of it and you get to dance. But where we fail is right there. When that door shut, let me tell you the first thing flesh does. Flesh says, well, you can make it work. All you have to do is take this and you got to go here and you pull this. And well, if you just say this, that might lead. Oh my God, let me tell you. I've been in sales all my life. Pretty much all my life. Always selling something to somebody. Now I'm selling Jesus. For free. How do you do that? And I'm going, well, all I got to do is just have a conversation. All I got to do is tell them this. And it's true. 100% factual. Because lumber prices change like this all the time. If a storm comes, man, lumber, building materials will go out the roof. Well, if you're in my type of business and you put a number out there, that number's good for a certain period of time because we don't know what stands around the corner. So everything in me was, that's correct. Everything in me is correct. And it's factual. I can prove it to you. But Rocky, you taking it back in your own hands? What are you going to do now? Manipulate? In sales, that's what I've done. I got a clear window in front of me. You don't have to worry about walking up to it and looking like this to see what you can see. I tell you all of it. I was in sales. That's how we sold people. Sold you by manipulation. Sold you in the ether. Sold you right now. There ain't no time. You ain't got time to wait, man. This deal's only good for today. Today and today only. Garbage. And then I had to go and preach and say, look, if somebody's trying to rush you into something, it ain't of God. You need to go ahead and back out, brother. Bible tells us not to rush into anything. So I've had to, look, you want to talk about your little ways and try, well, Pastor, I just can't stop calling her. Whatever name you call each other. And I'm sitting here going, God, if only I had that little issue. But I'm being forged in quality and character. You have to make a choice to accept it or reject it. You want to be better, you want to be the same. You want to move on or stay at home. Which one you want? There's always something bigger and better for you, waiting on the opposite side of that door. But what are you willing to go through? Listen, I just much rather, guys, I don't know about y'all, but this is one of the big, I almost looked at my watch. Y'all say that now. If y'all had been there Thursday, you wouldn't have said that. I was tired. Why do you think in this country, and we talk about the lottery, winning the lottery, and all these statistics about people that win the lottery and how quick they're broke? Why? They haven't been forged. They have not went and learnt. Right? They didn't prosper in their understanding. Come on, church. Listen, I won $3 million in the lottery. I can buy me a $2 million house and a $300,000 car and a $400,000 boat, man, and all the bills are paid and we're good to go. You got taxes on that now. Hello. Taxes? I got to pay taxes? Listen, it's just like you as a Christian. When there's a blessing waiting on you, if you get into it prematurely, you're not going to be able to handle it. You're going to flounder in it. You're going to mess it up. It's going to leave you quicker than you got it. Go through the process and let God work on you. Don't say, I want to do this and I want to do that. And you just disregard everything else. Go back in the field. Take care of the sheep. Daddy will call you to the house. Amen. Oh, and it's nervous too when Daddy calls you to the house. guess I'm done, but you need to work on your character. You need to work on your quality. Man, don't nobody want no doctor that barely got through. Well, I got book sense. See, my book sense, I got like a 99. My labs, I got like a 30. I'd rather you go to school and teach it. Can somebody else operate on me? You willing to go through it? I know you're not, but it's coming. It's coming. Every season we experience has an ending. Every one of them. And every season we experience has a beginning. Every one of them. So know this. Where you're at may not be where you're going to be next week. And don't you think that coming out of one season you're going into a better one. See, because you didn't want to take that forging here. I'm going to turn the heat up 7 times. Now you in this season. Well, this is hotter and heavier and harder. Well, you didn't learn back then. I'm just trying to fix this thing. We're running out of time. You're supposed to have been there last July. And here it is December the next year. And you're going, man, I really need, and I've been here. Man, I need to turn the heat up right now. I got to get through this thing. I should have been there in July. I should have been there in September. And it's hard, man. I should have been off this stuff a long time ago. I should have been over this a long time ago. That means I'm done. I'll just sound and audio. They got weird things, so I gotta give it, and they know to cut me off, and they crash the plane, and we're done. See, y'all thought I was joking. They don't ever know when to do that and when not to, because I stopped.